Hello, and thank you for visiting the Teach by Tech blog. You might have seen the product of the interactive PowerPoint. Today we're going to go ahead and go through the how. How can you use this in your classroom? Just how do you get going? So the first thing I like to do is go ahead and visit fppt.info. What that'll give you is a bunch of different options in terms of slide backgrounds, which this teacher here and the actual chalkboard, that's all the background. So you can create your own if you would like, or you can go ahead and visit and pick out one of the templates that they have listed. I always start with my introduction slide, and then this is usually used as review. So I'll have the students review the concept and then go ahead and take like a little self-quiz after that. So first, I have them review. In this case, they're going through different comma rules. You can use this for whatever concept you're teaching them. Just make sure that you give them the actual definition or just something to review. What I like to do then is give them an example option and then a next option. So if they need a little more help, they might click here. If they're like, hey, I've got this, ready to move on, they can click on this second button. When you're actually outlining your slides, make it easier on yourself and just make sure that you do the definition or whatever concept first, and the next slide immediately after that should be the example slide. Not all of your students are going to click here. They might not feel like they need to. And that will be appearing on the quiz. So this is just for the students who do need that extra help. On the example slide, I give them the option to read the rule again or whatever concept it is that they just visited. And then if they feel like, hey, I've got it after reading the actual examples, I'm ready for the next one. So when you get down to your quiz portion, and you can keep going through this same process. Now when we get down to our quiz portion, we want to make sure that we set it up so we have our question, our options, and then buttons that are going to take students to the correct slide. When you do this, make sure that you go ahead and get your question slide done. The next slide immediately after that should be the correct slide, and right after that should be incorrect. So just so they know how they're doing. On these slides, make sure that you have just the right amount of buttons for each option, and as well as on your correct and incorrect slide, just make sure you have a button that will take them to the appropriate slide. So let's go ahead and put this together and work on one. So here's a little example I have. Maybe we're working with the different parts of speech. So what is a verb? An action word, or maybe it describes a noun. So what I need to do now is give them a button to click on for each answer. I'm going to go ahead and go down to, scroll up to shapes at the top of your page, and just go ahead and pick something that you can use as an actual button. I'm going to use a star here. I like to just go ahead and copy it over so that you have the right amount for each option. Now this is our next step, but we need to know what each one represents, or our students need to know that. So we'll go to the top, hit text box. We're just going to put a letter on each of those. We'll make these a little bit larger, but you can feel free to play with the actual color of the font. You can play with the italics, the bold, whatever you think you need to do to make it more engaging. So I'm going to do the same thing for my option B. And once again, I'm just going to make it larger. Feel free to add slide pictures to your slide, or sounds, or just different transitions, just to make it as engaging as you can. So now this is great, but what we need to do is make sure that we have them go to the appropriate slide based on what they click. So in this case, our shape A is correct. Our answer A is correct. So what we want that to do is go to our next slide, which tells them that they got the answer correct. So we'll go to the top where it says slideshow and hit action settings. Now you're going to go down to hyperlink to. This is going to be the actual command that lets the button know which slide it needs to go to next. You'll have a lot of options here. I like to go to slide because it will give me an icon so I can double check and make sure we are going to the correct slide. In this case, they got answer A correct. They need to go to the correct slide, which is 49. Hit OK. What I like to do is go over the button and the actual letter. This is just so that you can make sure that they are going to the correct slide. The way PowerPoint works is it wants to go to the next slide. So if you're on 48, it wants to go to 49. If you're on 49, it wants to go to 50. You need to make sure that you just ensure that wherever your students click, as long as it's on that shape, it's going to take them to the correct slide. So I like to do the button, the shape, and the actual letter. So we'll do the same thing for our second one, but this one is incorrect. So that will take them to slide 50, which is incorrect. Once again, I'm doing the shape and I'm doing the actual letter. Now, we're all set there. Let's go ahead and put a button on our correct and incorrect slide. This will be our next step. So we'll go back to our shape icons. I'm going to use arrows this time. And I'll go ahead and just copy that to the next one. Once again, they need to know what that arrow means. So we'll add another text box on top. They got question 1 correct, so this will take them to question 2. Make it a little larger. Too large. All right. And we'll do the same thing here for our incorrect slide. But this one will tell them just to try it again. All right. Now it's time to make sure that these buttons take them to the correct place. So once again, just go over your shape, make sure this box is around it, go to slideshow, action settings, and in this case, since they got it correct, they want to go to the slide that will have the next question, which in this case is 51. And once again, I'm going to go ahead and go over the actual text box, just so we can make sure that even if they don't click on the actual shape, they click on the words, it takes them to the correct place. Same thing for our incorrect slide. In this case, we want it to take them back to the question so they can try it again, which was on slide 48. You can check out your icon here and make sure that you are going to the correct slide. We'll also do our text box. And we'll hit OK. At this point, we should be good to go. So let's go ahead and try out what we've worked on. So I'll start from this slide. Now this is what I should see as a student. Once again, feel free to add pictures or videos, anything that you would like to add just to make it as engaging as you can. So what is a verb? Is it an action word or maybe it describes a noun? Maybe I thought that a verb describes a noun. I'm going to click on B and it's going to tell me incorrect. So we learned from our mistakes. How about another try? I'm like, okay, this is all right. It's very low stakes. I can go at my own pace and I can try it again. The awesome part is it also tells them which one they got incorrect so that they can start to look at their next option. So in this case, I would know that, okay, a verb, it has to be an action word in this case. Hit A. Yes, I am amazing. I got it correct. I'm on to question 2. So I can click on the next one, and here would be my next question that you would build. So once again, PowerPoints want to go in a linear fashion, but don't be afraid to take advantage of all the awesome features that it does have and just make learning as engaging as you can with your students.